So we are back with our next vertical in cannabis, because that's what we're focused on today at this Feminine Forward Talk here at the Executive Lounge, the Cosmo, during MJ BizCon. The next one is really, really important. I think it's a lot of the glue that holds all of this together, and that is policy and law. But first I'm going to tell a little story, because it's rare that you get to be in a room with people who have really mentored you and shaped you and helped your career grow and thrive in this space. And so I am sitting next to one of those people right now. I consider this woman, Toni Forge, not only a colleague, but also a friend and
Absolutely.
a sister. So
Absolutely.
I want to thank you for joining us here today. And I know she's going to give us the real. She has titled her talk, Good Girls Never Win. So I'll just leave that there. You need to build a legally sound business in any industry, but especially in cannabis. And so I will let you take it away, Toni. Thank you.
Thank you. And Mskindness is my sister, and thank you to everybody here. My other sister, Kika, is here. I first got into cannabis in 2016. Before that, for 25 years, Joyce, I was a litigator, and I did litigation management for Fortune 500 companies. And I did corporate law. And so in 2016, I was just so burnt out, and a friend of mine said, you should get into cannabis. And I was same thing as Joyce. I don't know shit about cannabis. I'm not a smoker. I'm not any of this, but I do know about emerging markets. So before you were born, there was a thing called the .com era in 2000. And I was a part of the .com era, so I knew that space very well, and I know emerging markets. So I said, this is an emerging market, I want to be a part of it, yada, yada, yada. And so I got into it, but the one thing I couldn't even understand is, how does this business, this emerging market, run on rumor and innuendo? I could not believe that every time I said, well, how do you know that? Somebody told me. Somebody told you what? Well, somebody told me it was legal. And you went on that for a major business that somebody is supposed to invest $500,000 because somebody told you? Yes. And after a while, I started thinking, well, shit, am I the crazy one? Because everybody is doing this, and this seems to be par for the course, and this seems to be what everybody is doing. And so I decided, let me take all of that business acumen. I have a business undergrad degree, and let me take everything that I did for Fortune 500 companies and let me do it for folks, and let me have real conversations. And so when I got into this space, I loved it, because I don't even know if you guys remember the World Congress of Cannabis. They used to have a big thing like MJ BizCon. So I went there, and I said, oh my God, this is like the American Bar Association. This is nothing but a bunch of white old men in khakis telling me, and forget about anybody of color. And I just really couldn't believe this was what this is, when I knew plenty of black and brown folks. I'm from Compton originally, and they were sitting in jail, and these white men are telling me how much money they can make. And so that made me have a purpose. That was my why. And I said, you know what? I want people to thrive. I want them to have a piece of this pie. And so that really got me into social equity. But I noticed there's such a difference between female clients and male clients. And I deal with regulators and municipalities as well. So I just had a client come in, male client, before the holiday. He's going to sit down and he's going to tell me. Now, he's going to tell me, now, this is what I need, and this is what's going to happen, and it's this, that, and the other. And I just couldn't believe everything he was telling me was so incorrect. And then I look at females who come in. Toni, well, I'm not sure, maybe, do you think so? And I stop them all the time and say, you have got to have confidence. And you have got the confidence of, excuse me if I offend anyone, a mediocre white man. And a mediocre white man knows his place, because not only does he have the seat at the table was built for him. And so I am from the methodology and the mind frame of you fake it until you make it. And so women, we have to stop feeling we shouldn't be here, or we're timid when we go. You have to be bold, and you have to come in boldly. And if you can't do that, why am I going to give you money? Why am I going to give you capital? Why am I going to do your product? Why am I even going to entertain that? Because we know by a person named Trump, you can come into any environment. We know that. And we have the example of somebody who takes that philosophy and literally is turning the government around. So imagine if we were using our powers for good. So imagine that. So the first thing I always tell my clients, especially females, you have to be confident. The second thing in cannabis, you know this to be true, just because everybody is doing it doesn't make it legal. I say this 4,000 times a day, okay? And give it to me. Just because it doesn't make it illegal, but because cannabis is so on the whisper and, Joyce, kind of in the behind the curtain, no one wants to really find out the information, and I don't know why. So let's talk about gummies. Let's talk about manufacturing a product. People always think it's just cannabis, but there's the Department of Public Health. And you have to make sure in that state that what you want to do is what you can do. So if we're going to spend $600 on some Manolos, spend $400 for an hour with an attorney or a consultant and figure out, this is what I want to do with my business. Does it make sense? And get the correct information so you should thrive. I am all about people being successful. I'm not about people getting in. We know how people are so excited about the licenses. I got the licenses, Kika. Is that 1/16 of it? It's all about that operation. It's all about that operation. And so that leads me to the next thing I'm always in awe about. No contracts. How do we have an industry where people don't have contracts? I did last week a consultation for somebody who gave $2.5 million on a handshake. A handshake. I almost was brought to tears because I was just, as a litigator, I couldn't believe it. Not a piece of paper in sight. Not a piece of paper in sight. And we all know with this industry, we are having a problem with folks paying their bills. People are not paying the way they should. I just had a client in Humboldt, $190,000 they were owed, and she hands me a text thread. Are you really kidding me? This is a text thread. This is evidence. This ain't a contract. Joyce, tell them about Contracts 101. The four corners of a document memorializing the meeting of the minds so you have, with specificity, everything you all decided to do as a partnership, as a contract. You have to have that. Don't put it on a text thread or an email and think that's enough. It's not enough. Because I was a litigator, I look at worst case scenarios. I go into everything with worst case scenarios because I've seen it more often than not. And you need to have a piece of paper, and we know this to be true because we see all the litigation that's happening in the cannabis space. And as good girls, we don't want to make waves, right? I don't want to be a bitch. I don't want people not to like me. I'm so happy I got the money, so oh my God, should I ask them one step more of putting it on a piece of paper? Yes. You cannot control how people think of you. You can't control what people are going to say, but you have to control your universe and your liability. I've had the shittiest 2023 known to man. And I said to myself, I can sit here or I can elevate this experience because God in the universe is trying to tell me something. And I was saying it at the Blunt Brunch. And I really am trying to get in another mind frame that I know God in the universe has to have me. I don't have to put all this effort forcing it. If I just open up, things are going to come to me. And I understand when people are saying, it's hard for me to think a particular way. It's hard for me with this new way of thinking, but it has to be done. So even though you don't want to push the contract, you're so happy that you got the money, you need to push more because you owe it to yourself. Start thinking yourselves as business people. Start thinking of yourselves because that's what you are. But for some reason in cannabis, we don't do it. It's my homie. My homies are not monetized, okay? My homies ain't paying my mortgage. They're not paying my car note. We have got to get in the mind space that these are contracts, this is a business, and we operate as such. And as women, we have to say no. I see this so many times. I see in, let's say, it is a retail space. She has one female and a couple of men. The females do all the work. The men are popping bottles in on Instagram, okay? And that's not fair. So you have to, everybody's got to be in it equally. What's your skin in the game? And as a female, you cannot do more work than your male counterparts. Now, we do it naturally because my partner cannot chew gum and look at TV at the same time. And as mothers, we do 400 things. We know how to multitask. But if it's not benefiting you, if you're not getting equal energy back in your business, absolutely don't do it. Have boundaries. Say no. The other thing you have to do, don't go into business with friends unless they're business people. Everybody does it. Don't go into business with friends unless they're business people, because they may be a friend, but they don't have the same energy. They don't have the same drive. They don't have the same goals. You have to be in business with people who want the same thing as you do. I always make my clients do a mission statement. And a mission statement is our why. It's what are we trying to accomplish? What are we trying to do? And that try to get all the partners together so everybody's thinking on the same line. And if people aren't thinking the same way you're thinking, with the same kind of zest, dump them. You cannot have any hanger-oners. You really can't do it. The other thing I see so often is hanger-oners. I can't do it. I can't do it anymore. The other thing I see so often are people do not vet business partners. I just don't get that. You should vet a business partner the same as you vet your man or your woman. It should be that same. What are they thinking about? What's their background? Are they going to work? What's their expectation of this relationship? Because we all know everybody has different expectations. Some people they like, what the kids say, clout chasing. They like clout chasing. Look at me on it. Look at me on it. Okay? Some people want to be a clout chaser. And I can't make no money cloud chasing. What the hell is that? I'm going to go to Wells Fargo and say, is this cloud chasing? No, they want money. And so you have to be with people who are like-minded, who want the same things as you do. And I always try to stress that. Unfortunately, there's so much of my practice now about people in bad relationships. It was a shitty year for cannabis too. Everybody was breaking up with everybody. I was just telling Tiana, Kika, I do have a moral compass because I believe that what I put in the world comes back to me. And I believe that I was born for service. I absolutely know that's my purpose in life. And I literally cannot be a lawyer for somebody who's getting screwed over. I can't. I was telling the ladies here, I feel I have to recuse myself in one because they're not doing what should be done. You should have that same type of integrity in everything you do. And if the people with you don't have that level of integrity, you have to let them go. I believe that God in the universe puts us exactly where we need to be. So in cannabis, I get it. When we get that money, we want to hold on to it. They're fucking me, but they're nice. Excuse you, your auntie, sorry. But they're good people, and this is the only capital I'm going to get, and I'm never going to get any more capital. Then it wasn't meant for you. You know, all money ain't good money. And you have to be with people who share the same type of whys as you, what you want to do with the business. And if it's not doing that for you, you have got to walk away. So, if anything, number one, button up your business. It is a business. You should be buttoned up like corporate America. A contract on everything you do. And you heard it first. The next wave that's going to kill cannabis is HR. Because for some people, they do not believe that folks should be under HR and employment laws. And I don't know why. And you know why it's going to kill it? Because there's no negotiating with the state. You fucked up, you get fined. That's just about how it is. And those fines are big. Woo, they big. I had somebody that called me because they had trimmers, and these trimmers were not American citizens. So in their mind, they thought they didn't have to pay them. You got to pay everybody. Citizen, non-citizen. They did a class action suit, $1.6 million class action suit, and punitives attached to it. So those are the things that you have to think of. It's just not my brand. Tiana, you know how everybody gets stuck on the brand. I want to be a cannabis brand. You want to be a cannabis business, and compliance is number one. If you want to sell that business, there's going to be a forensic accountant that comes in. We do due diligence all the time. And if your shit ain't in order, nobody's going to buy you. And so even if you don't want to do it now and think, I want to sell my business, you have to have a compliant business or you're not going to be able to sell it. That's just the bottom line. So I believe that everybody can be successful, but I believe everybody has to understand the tools of how to be successful. So, any questions? Thank you, Ms. Kindness.
I'm coming back. Thank you. God, we call that a feminine forward talk. Okay. It was wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
I'm sure there are many questions, but Toni, you should have your own show.
No. I'm out here trying to save the world.
One compliance rule at a time.
One compliance rule at a time, yes.
This is a big area, right? Law, policy, and really how we change things. And I think, I love when you say, people come to me and say something that they know about cannabis. Oh, because somebody told me.
Yes.
That's
that happens all the time, and it's so weird to me. From being a business person and you're hearing this, there's no other industry that kind of works that way. It isn't, and I've been in a lot of industries in my corporate life. But when I went into cannabis, I was like, really? And I had to go back to what my mama...
They were getting high?
No, I just think because we're in a gray area, right? We heard that so much between 2016 and when we got the ordinances. We're in a gray area. So people want to do what they want to do, and they just don't want to find out the facts.
There's a lot of power in the stories we tell ourselves. So if you're like,
correct.
Well, I do this, and somebody told me I couldn't, and you want to believe that, then you just go down that road.
And you go down that road because you want it to be so. You want it to be so because you want your business to take off, and I absolutely get it. But the bottom line is, if you can't do it and you get fined, then what are you going to do? And you have to stay up on. I subscribe to that MJ Daily. Mm-hmm. They give you so much information, and they really are telling you certain things. I was shocked. I was talking to attorneys doing a cannabis kind of 101 for attorneys, and I was just looking up what has the DEA said recently, right? We all know everybody's trying to move into rescheduling. Biden's trying to reschedule from Schedule 1 to 3. I don't know what that's going to do, but okay.
44 states program.
Yeah, I don't know what that's going to do, but it's a big push. And then when I'm researching this, the DEA comes out in February, Delta 8 and Delta 9. I was just telling JC, Delta 8 and Delta 9, they consider cannabis federally illegal now. And they're pushing it. So you've got to stay up on these things so you absolutely know what's going on. So if you're trying to expand your business or trying to get in some additional products or whatever, you can know, can I do that? I had a woman who was baking cakes with cannabis in California. You can't put bread and egg and milk and everything else. And she got fined. And she was just, well, why can't I? I said, because you can't. Because the regs and the Department of Public Health and people have allergies and people have all of these things. And, you know, she just act like...
Section and all this. It's like this department says this, but this department says this. You have to find the space where you live in between.
Absolutely. And when I do a consultation for somebody, I'm looking at 500 different websites because it impacts so much. And that's what I want people to be mindful of. Just don't think it's cannabis. It's not. Tiana, you know it's a department, your state Department of Public Health. Hemp in California is the Agricultural Board. It's not even anything connected with cannabis. But you have to know those things, so you have to know how to position your business and position your products.
Going on what you were saying as well, like you have the side with manufacturing, but also with real estate. Like,
correct.
We're having issues with landlords and people thinking they can just take your license because for some reason, like the regulations is your license is attached to the building, the address.
Correct.
So how do we deal with that in laws and figuring that out as well?
And absolutely. And just like this person that gave somebody $2.5 million and he had the gall to say to me, oh, this is my license. You know what you got? A sweaty hand from that handshake because you have nothing. Absolutely nothing. There was no investment contract. There was he's not on the license. So I had to educate him that you have to be part of the entity through the operating agreement. Are you going to be a member, a managing member? All of these things. And so people have to get that. They get too excited about cannabis. They get too excited about building their business.
And they forget that this is an actual business and you have to...
Absolutely. And when I get these new people in states, they get so excited about the licensing. You know that triggers me, Kika, because I'm just like, why are you so excited about the license? Get it, I get it, I get it. But that is 1/16 in your battle, and you're going to hear Kika talk about her successful business. Your battle is going to be how to stay operational, how to pay those taxes, how to get your employees, because then bud tenders leave every 2 days. All of my clients complain about the circle of staff that goes around and around, all of those things. So yes, I'm not trying to be a hater. Be excited about the license. Be excited about that. You're at the table. Bravo. But that's not how you get to the finish line. That's the step. That's just getting in the starting blocks. We're trying to take you to the finish line. And that's contracts, compliance, knowing your business folks, being in business with reputable people who have integrity. That's what it's all about. Thank you.
Now, do you recommend, like, when your clients or potential clients come in, would you recommend, like, them finding a good workshop first to really give them the good, the bad, and the ugly? What
I do, and JC would tell you because he's an old client, what I do is I sit down with people and I try to understand how much do you know, because if you know a lot, then I'm not going to waste your money. I'm a realist. I like to get down to the dirty. Okay, so I always tell them, okay, what do you know? Tell me how much do you know? What are you looking to do? But the example I gave you before, there was this guy who thought he knew, but everything was wrong, because he told me, now I have in California, I have a testing license, manufacturing license. Oh, no, you don't. You cannot have a testing license or any other license. So, I mean, how are you getting to all these other licenses? And, you know, you need to really rethink that. You're going to be out of business as a state. And the DCC is coming hard because they want people in legal markets to succeed. So, yeah, I always do a consultation. And if I can tell in the first like 15 minutes you need help, I'll stop it. And I said, okay, so we need to go a little more in depth and let me know.
I mean, you could always start with Google.
And I say this all the time. If you can't Google your business, don't be in business. I am just shocked that is. Google gives you so much, you know, and people don't do that. They don't just get the basic knowledge. Do you believe in 2023 Californians that somebody said, I didn't know you need a local and a state license. And you're trying not to offend people, and you know I wear everything. And I'm just sitting there, oh, Jesus, I need an intervention. Because I can't believe it. And you're right, to your point, Ms. Kindness, that's something you can Google.
And
that's not even difficult.
You can find government agencies and
Yes!
find information on that.
Yes!
And you're going to have a lot of information and questions, good informed questions, when you call an attorney.
Absolutely. And that's how you waste your money with attorneys.
Yes.
Because you sit up there, and that's why I stop it, because you sit up there and you're asking these basic questions. And what I usually say to people, look, I got a one-page flyer here. Take this, and that will educate. You know, you should think about how to use your time and your money correctly. That's the big issue. That's the big issue.
Do you feel like that? I find that people don't value finding the information on Google because it's free. They feel like, and I've said it time and time again, if it's free, it's for me.
Oh, definitely.
But if you don't want to listen and read what's right there, and you want to go pay someone to tell you the same thing you just read, I find that people disregard what they can learn on their own versus paying someone for it.
That's American schooling.
I think that people disregard a lot of things, not just that. They disregard me because I'm a black woman. They disregard me for any other kind of thing. And you know what? But that's their issue. You know, if you don't want to look up the basic information in Google and you want to pay somebody, okay, go ahead. That's you wasting your money. But it is. Exactly. This is an expensive business. People don't get it. Those newbies in other states crack me up. I met some guy yesterday told me, I only need $400,000 to start a dispensary. I said, is it 2x2? Is it in a closet? Because that's the only way $400,000 is going to get you. People don't realize insurance, all of these things come into play when you have your business. So, yeah, do the homework. Do the homework.
Do your homework.
And you can follow me. I'm at 4 Leaf Consulting. That's the name of my company. And you can follow me on IG.
Do your homework, students.
Thank you, my love. I love you more.
Whole feminine forward talk. Listen, and it's this order, this day, it's beautiful because coming next is Miss Vicky, and I think it's no, don't get up.
Oh shit! Okay.
We're on camera.
Okay.
It's the perfect transition. We're gonna take a quick break again and prepare for the next talk. We're going to do the last talk a little bit differently because I'm going to sit next to my friend and we're going to talk about how it looks and how powerful it is to build a mindful enterprise.
Yes.
Yes, she has really set an example.
Absolutely. Congrats, Keith. Absolutely.
Toni brought it to the fire, though, y'all. So hire an attorney, okay?
Yes.
Don't try to get into a cannabis business without an attorney. That's just silly.
Yeah.
We hire a
silly.
smart female.
Ooh,
That's right.
a smart
That's right.
attorney. Listen,
That's right.
this is Feminine Forward Talks. Thank you. We'll be back.
Thank you.